And to be a little bit more specific, we'll come on to question 3, which is what is muscle strengthening exercise and what is the journey to go on when we're starting to think about that. First, we need to establish, as I've mentioned, sort of where you are. Now, I've loosely mentioned where is a good place to start. So we would start with basically 2 things. So we've got the end in mind, which is to do sort of the strengthening exercises. So let's begin there. If we say the end in mind is doing, from an efficiency perspective, you can minimize the exercises. So you can do a squat, a deadlift, an overhead press, and a pull. So it could be a row of some kind, off a cable machine, of a dumbbell, of a kettlebell, whatever it may be. So let's just say that's the end in mind, and we want to be doing 6 reps of that, so it's going to be quite a heavy weight. So we're going to say that's the end in mind, doing those 4 exercises with a heavy weight twice a week. Now, without knowing where an individual is in that journey, so I'm going to start from the beginner's end. So what we would do, or certainly what I would do, is you would start with the simple exercises that I've talked about, start with the safe exercises like I've talked about, and we would also add in core exercises and joint range of movement. Because when we're doing overhead pressing, we want the arms to be able to go straight up over the head. So we need the shoulder range of movement to go vertically upwards, because what can happen is we can push outwards with an overhead press because we can't get the arms up over the head. So that's something that we need to be mindful of. So we need to build the core to be able to hold the spine in position and to be able to maintain proper technique through exercises. Then we need the joint range of movement to be able to do those exercises. And it's the same with the squat and the deadlift, in that we need the hips and the ankles to be able to have a minimum standard that we can sort of go through enough range of movement of the exercise so we can go down far enough to challenge the muscles, which then challenge the bones. So that's kind of like the first step. We have just simple strengthening exercises, bicep curls, lateral raise, things like that, shallow squats with a lighter weight. Then we have the core exercises and the joint range of movement, just to try and sort of prep us for the next stage. And the next stage is where we start building more of a muscular endurance. So with the sort of the safe and simple exercises, you would start at 12 reps. So it would be a lighter weight. You would work on your muscular endurance, so the ability to perform 3 sets of 12. What you would also do is, as I've mentioned, you'd add in like shallow squats. Obviously, you can start with body weight and then you can start adding weight in. So basically, you're aiming to complete 3 sets of 12 reps with a given weight. Now, what that given weight is depends on the condition of your body. What you would then do, once you've got to a point where you can perform 3 sets of 12 with the given weight, and let's use squatting as the example. So we've started with our shallow squats, body weight, up to 3 lots of 12. Then we've introduced a weight for the shallow squats, and we've started now to drop the hips a little bit further. So we're dropping the hips because we've been working on our core strength. We've been working on our joint range of movement. We can drop a bit further in. So we're starting to encourage you to come a bit further down into the exercise. So we would probably maintain that around 12 once we can start to get a little bit deeper into the squat, and we could start increasing the weight a little bit. What we would then do is you may then drop the reps to 8 or 10. You would increase the weight a little bit and you would complete 3 sets of 8 or 10, again with a given weight. And then again, if you need to drop down in the squat a little bit further, then you would aim to do that. And then you kind of get to that end in mind that we were talking about. So we would be building up with the overhead press, we would be building up with the deadlift, with the squat, and with the pulling exercise. So you would then drop to 6 reps. So you would aim for that, and this is where we sort of work on muscular strength. So we could go down to 4 if we wanted to. So again, with each with each drop in rep, there is an increase in weight. So it's very much thinking about that journey and that process as we go along. And at each stage, we need to be mindful of the body position, because again, as we go up in weight, we are more likely to not use the range of movement that we've created. We are likely to lose technique, which could be at the knees, could be at the hips, could be at the spine, whatever it may be. So we need to keep all of that in mind when we are performing those exercises. So as an example, what is muscle strengthening exercise? Well, it's kind of all of it. It's the core strengthening, it's the simple, safe exercises, it's the building of, core strength, it's the joint range of movement, it's the building of muscular endurance, and then finally the building of muscular strength.